Madam Stage Manager. Thank you. Thank you, Lana. This is the main act today, what we've all joined up here on Saturday morning, 9:30, to listen to a great champion, Percy Guatako. For those of us who may not know Percy, a quick introduction. Percy is a 6-time district champion across international evaluation and table topics. He's won across 3 districts. He's a thrice World Championship semifinalist and twice World Championship finalist. He's an executive speech coach who specializes in theater and speech coaching, and he's done that for 30 years. He's also the principal of the Hangzhou School, International School, and my personal interaction with Percy started about probably this time last year when Percy helped me with my international speech, was instrumental in ensuring that I could make it to the district finals. A lot of tips that Percy personally gave me were very helpful. And since then, I have seen Percy's presentations on other topics a couple of times. So it's my pleasure and privilege today to introduce Percy Guatako, the evaluator's edge, using both sides of your brain. The evaluator's edge, Percy Guatako. Over to you, Percy.
Thank you, Shri, and good morning, Stage Time Toastmasters. I believe we're like at 9:30 for you. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, it's 5:30 here in Bangkok. Sun's not up yet, but we'll get there. I hope things are well in your neck of the woods. I understand some of us are from more international areas. I see some from the United States. Ravan from Malaysia, it's good to see you again. One of the most important things that Shri told me about your club is that this is an advanced club. We have people who have been doing this for a while and people who have reached the district stage. I wanted to make sure to give you something befitting that kind of experience. So today we're going to be talking about evaluations using both sides of the brain, the art and the science of evaluations. The art and the science of evaluations. As I visit many clubs, I find that some people talk about evaluations as coaching, as teaching, as growing. Which of these words best suits what you think of evaluations? Would you go ahead and write that in the chat? Teaching, coaching, growing. Oh, we've got some good ones. Uh-oh, Lou, you took 2. I don't know whether we can allow that.
They're equal.
Good. Good. We've got some different answers in there, don't we? I think what we're looking at is different ways of engaging with that particular speaker. Yes? Different ways of engaging with the speaker, how we bring ourselves into the equation. And I think it's important to discuss that. I'd like for you to take a look at this and tell me about this. I think a lot of folks talk about evaluating to elevate, right? Evaluate to elevate. Consider evaluate to celebrate. Somebody comes in your club, they do their icebreaker. I would say 95% of what we do as feedback is to celebrate Hey, way to go. You made it up there. You didn't pass out. Yay. Here's one little thing. Make sure to come back tomorrow. Don't. Don't leave. Right, Mahesh? It's like, yeah, keep coming back. You're good. You're good. It's okay. You only passed out once. Right? So we're celebrating. I think the third word is probably new to most of us in terms of a Toastmaster evaluation. To stimulate. To stimulate. How do we stimulate? And I think this is one of the most important things we can do, especially when you've got a room such as yourselves and you've been doing this a while. I mean, when we've been doing it a while, sometimes it gets a little, right? Oh, another pathway. Well, let's go ahead and open up that pathway. And, oh, look, it looks just like the previous pathway, except for these two projects at the very end. Come on, right, Karen? Come on, right? Right, come right. It's amazing how many people kind of go, "Oh, I'm in this pathway and it's going to be different." I'm like, "Seriously? Come on now." Those first three levels it feels just a little bit like, one road from another road from another road. It's all about the same. Until you get to like the coastline in Australia, you get to the coastline, then maybe it looks a little different here than over there. I'm not knocking it. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's upon us. I think it's upon us to take it to the next level. And that's where the uniqueness of what we do as evaluators is critical. We celebrate, we elevate, we stimulate, all in 3.5 minutes. All in 3.5 minutes. And here's where I think it happens. Celebrate what they did well. You're like, duh, Furzy. You didn't need to wake up at 5 o'clock to tell us that. Elevate, we all know that one. Stimulate, how to excite them. And sometimes that excitement is about their life. I think one of the most important things we've got to remember is that people come to us here in Toastmasters because there's something out there that they need. Something out there, right, Evelyn? There's something out there in the real world that they need, so they came to us. And we're trying to help them achieve that. They didn't come to us because they wanted to do DCP points. Shri, you good with that one? I realize, Jean-Pierre, that that's how we're measuring some club success, but that's
Hindi.
not why.
Never champion na nagbibigay ng free.
Sorry? Oh, nope, not to worry. Okay, so that we need to realize that. What do they need? And I think that's a lot of where the stimulation comes in. We've got to make sure that we are stimulating these speakers going forward. I know a lot of people think, well, when they do a speech in Pathways, are we responding to the project itself? Yeah, I think we should. But I think that's like this much of it compared to this much of the entire speech, because I just don't think those projects really change very much. I think the project is minimal when you compare it to what they need to achieve on a personal level. And especially when you have people who've been together for a while, you've seen each other quite a bit. I'll bet you all have seen Shri speak many times for many years. How can you take him to the next level? Well, what does he need? What are Shri's goals outside of Toastmasters? I think that's the most important question that we can ask each other. What are your goals outside of Toastmasters? Anytime I evaluate someone, even when I'm new to the club, I'll send them a message. What are your goals outside of Toastmasters? Well, I'd like to achieve level 3 in the pathway. No, outside of Toastmasters. Real life. Because if what we tell them does not help them outside of Toastmasters, we're missing something. Ralph C. Smedley did not invent this organization so that we could be good at Toastmastering. Right? We're not here to be good Toastmasters. We're here to be good at public speaking in the real world. There are two parts to this, the analytical side and the intuitive side. The analytical side and the intuitive side. Would you do this for me, please? I'm going to show you a picture. Just like in our warm-ups, we're watching video, but this is just a simple still shot picture. And I'd like for you to tell me, what do you see? Not inference, but actually see. What do your eyes see that is data that can not be argued? This cannot be argued. What do you see? And you can pin me, and that'll make your picture a little bit bigger if you need. What do you see? Mahesh, what do you see? Heidi says casual meeting. How do we know it's casual? A group of people discussing. Are they all discussing? How do we know it's lunch, Shri? It says lunch meeting, but how do we know it's lunch? So what are we inferring versus what are we actually seeing? What is something you could say that cannot be argued? Talking at cross purposes. How do we know they're at cross purposes? How do we know they're disengaged? What do you see? What do you actually see? How do we know it's a party? Are we presuming it's an office? What tells you office and not home? What tells you side chat? What tells you separate conversations?
The only thing, firstly, you can't argue about is there's a desk there, and there are people around the desk, and there's some food on it. That's about it, isn't it?
Well, in your house, don't you have a desk?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Jean-Pierre. Well, the background at least, that kind of looks like an office to me. But I'll bet he's at home.
I am at home.
We have desks at home, right? You see what I mean? What do you see? Not what do you surmise and what are you putting together like Sherlock Holmes, but what do you actually see? I'm asking you to break it down into its basic elements, even though you're going to get a duh. No, what do you see? Challenge yourself. Break it down for me. Measure it. Measure it. A very old computer. Good. How do you know it's old?
The screen.
The screen. Good. Big. Yes. Good. What do you see? Any other answers? Chips. Good. Different sets of people making eye contact with each other. Good.
There's multiple thread of discussion here.
And you know that because
They're looking at each other's different, if you look at the two people on the left, they're looking at each other, completely ignoring what goes on their right.
excellent. Yes. The number of people speaking. Good. Okay. Does this make sense? Now we're getting somewhere. We're going in and breaking it down. And this is something I think we've moved away from in our evaluations. How do we get right down to the brass tacks? Specific. What can you count? Yes? What can you actually count? Like a scientist, like an accountant. What do you see in this picture? What do you see?
Three people. Three people.
3 people. Excellent. Houses. How do we know they're houses? Boat. Good. Excellent. A man is looking at the women. They are not looking back. Good. Bridge. Good. Trees. Good. Buckets. Water. Excellent. Water again. Yes. Lovely. Now we're getting somewhere. Yes, we're breaking it down. What do we actually see? How many things are we counting? We're seeing 3 people. Good. We're seeing that 1 is looking at the 2. The 2 are not looking at the 1. We're talking about eye focus. We're talking about eye contact. We're measuring eye focus, eye contact. Yeah? I know you're going, that's really kind of pedantic. Not really. If you're talking about giving somebody feedback on a speech, then can you say you were looking at the front row, not the back? You were looking at that side, not that side. You were looking down at your notes for 60% of the time you were speaking. You looked at your PowerPoint. On each point, you looked at your PowerPoint for 50% of the time. Why would we need to do that? You made the PowerPoint. So why would you need to do this looking at your PowerPoint? It seems like you could glance at it, make sure it's there, and then spend 80% of your time looking at the audience, right? We're talking about eye focus. And this way we can give feedback that is precise, as opposed to, yeah, you did it. No, you didn't. That kind of precision helps us become better evaluators. You've seen this picture before. What do you see? Vicky, what do you think?
I see Prince William giving the bird to someone to someone.
Yep. There you go. And those of you know that if you pivot to the other side,
Yeah.
it's a different picture. Yes? Absolutely. We need to be able to see it from both sides. We need to be able to see it from an analysis. 3 beers in Germany. Nice, Daryl. 3 beers, please. I like that. So the analytical side. Go ahead and grab a screenshot of that. It's rational. It's analytical. It's quantitative. What do you see? What do you hear? It's objective. This is the analysis. Next slide. The intuitive side. Screenshot. Using your intuition without rationality. This is your instinct. Insight. It's innate to you. It's qualitative, not quantitative. Yes? To compare, this is quantitative numbers. This is qualitative. Maybe it's more anecdotal. It's abstract. It's a feeling. It's not what I see and what I hear. It's a feeling. It's subjective. It's metaphor. Not only are the speakers different, but we as people giving feedback, we as coaching, we as teachers, we as evaluators, we bring our own background. We bring our own lens. We bring our very personal filters. And that's why getting roundtable discussion about our speech can be helpful because we see it from different points of view. A couple of years ago, when I'm trying to get to the World Championship of Public Speaking, this was my very first time going. I brought a group of people together to evaluate me. This was still during COVID. And I said, okay, I've got all of you here. I'm going to do my speech for it, and I'd like to get your feedback. And one guy said, Furzy, I don't know why you brought me. I'm not a very good speaker. I went, no, man, you're going to be good. You're going to be terrific. I appreciate what you bring to the party. You see, his job, he does safety checks on nuclear power plants. I'm thinking this guy's got an eye. This guy, he's not going to let anything pass. Because if he lets something pass, people die. So he's pretty eyes on. So I do my speech, I get my feedback, I make sure I get feedback from everyone. I ask him, what did you see? What do you think? And he goes, Furzy, I just don't know why you brought me here. Because everybody said, you know what I would have said. The only thing I would say is I noticed that you gestured to your right-hand side this many times and you only gestured to your left side this many times. Are you serious? Nobody picked up on that. Nobody. But he had a number for me. He told me how many times I'm over here and how many times I'm over here. It was very easy to switch. I just moved it from here to there. Done. And now my speech had much better balance. So we can be that precise, that analytical. That kind of feedback people can take and do something with. Does this make sense? So understand what you bring as an evaluator. What's that lens that you're looking through? And then how do you give that to your target speaker? On the analysis side, take a look at this for me. Screenshot. I've just kind of learned that when you put a slide up there with lots of words, people need a moment to grab the words, right? Otherwise, you spend 2 minutes trying to write it all down, then you look up and you go, Furzy, what did you just say? My students used to do that to me all the time. So I'm like, I'll get my potato of a head out of the way for you. Word count. Laughter count. How many times did people laugh? How long did they laugh for? Mahesh, don't smack your computer now. Are you looking to your left or your right? What's the pause count? Sometimes the word count doesn't matter because of the pause count, right? I mean, I've got people after, they've been doing their speech for a while now and they're still looking at word count. It's like, why? Don't you know how long it is? Why count words? Count minutes. You don't know what numbers you need to know. The time length of your introduction. How long is your introduction? Because some introductions are like 3 minutes long. Yeah, I've heard that. That was like a 3.5 minute introduction. It's only a 7 minute speech. Good heavens. The time length or the percentage of the story. Come on, we're in Toastmasters. Some people give a 6.5 minute story for a 7 minute speech. Seriously? That's a storytelling contest, not a speech contest. Let's consider that. Right? What percentage of the story of the speech is actually story? Consider this. On the intuitive side, screenshot. Your favorite words. Where do you see this speaker? In what kinds of scenarios is this speaker going to do well? Maybe you can give them that kind of feedback looking at their career. What I mean by that is maybe you know that this person's trying to move up in their career, and maybe you could say, I see you as a trainer. You have that kind of voice. You have that kind of ability to give feedback. You're a trainer. As opposed to, I think you'd be great in sales. Just a thought. You can give that kind of personal feedback. It's okay. We're here to give feedback to each other, not just the speech. Use your intuition. Are they speaking out of fear or out of confidence? Can't really measure that, but you all have the experience that you can sense it, right? You can sense it, Lou, and you can give that kind of feedback. Are you speaking out of fear or out of confidence? I feel your vulnerability. I feel your passion. Just because you can't measure it doesn't mean it's not useful. It's very useful, but we have to know what side of the brain we're using. And we have to know that we might need to couple it with other pieces of information. The data, is it analytical or is it intuitive? Is it quantitative or is it qualitative? Just like when you do research. Let's take a look at the structure of a speech. Oh, this one's going to need a screenshot. On the analysis side, logos, we're talking about logic here, right? Right? Everybody understands that, yes? Logos, pathos, ethos, right? Going all the way back to Aristotle. Logos, pathos. So on the analysis side, we're talking about logos. credentials. On a structure, there might be the intro, the body, the conclusion. Right? Typical three setup body. Maybe it's going to be past, present, future. On the intuitive side, pathos. They're telling a story. We might say that the structure is fluid. The structure is organic. The structure is rhythmic. And instead of past, present, future, maybe it's present, past, future. We switch it up. These are the kinds of things we can do. We can look at what they're doing and we can look at how we give feedback, both sides. Let's take a look at this. Screenshot. Let's take a look at gestures. It's usually nice and easy to see. On the analytical side, you pointed back to your PowerPoint. It's on the left or the right, like what I talked about earlier. Your gestures are literal. What in the world are you talking about, Furzy? Your gestures are literal. Well, you ever seen this, especially from beginning speakers? And so I got on the phone. I told cats are going a little bonkers. I told them 2 times. Really? You thought we couldn't count to 2? You had to hold up bunny fingers to tell us you counted 2 times? Come on now, right? I told them that 1 time. Why are you doing that gesture? It's useless. We can all count to 1. Save the gesture for more expressionistic ideas. Oh, yeah, that kind of feedback. Are the gestures literal or expressionistic? For example, the moon. Okay, the moon, I'm pointing to the moon. Or is it more expressionistic? The moon. The moon. Does this make sense? What kind of feedback can we give our speakers that ups the game? Up their game. On the analysis side, we can talk about the duration of the gesture. On the intuitive side, it felt natural or unnatural. It was inclusive or excluding. It was expressionistic. I felt your sense of loss. Take a look at the duration side. Did you know that gestures have a duration? They do, but we never use it because here's how we usually gesture. It looks like a TikTok video. If you don't believe me, try to take a picture of people when they're gesturing. I'll bet you any amount of money that you can't get their hands in the picture. I'll bet you any amount of money that the best you'll get is like a windshield wiper in high hurricane season. Go ahead, try it online. Try it online. Try it in person. You're going to get, try to take a picture for VPPR purposes. Oh, I'm going to get a picture. It's going to look good. I can't get their hands. All I see is a straight shot of their head. But if you measure the duration of their gestures, then you can all of a sudden see where the gestures have a length of time. Right? You can give that kind of feedback. Lengthen that gesture so that we feel that passion. Come on now. Every one of us could have done that. We just don't think. Is that new? Is that new to anybody? The duration of a gesture? Yeah? Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm speaking up to my audience here. I don't want you to walk away going, that guy was kind of master of the obvious, Sheree. I don't know why you brought him. His information was as obvious as bad haircut. So what we want to talk about is all the things that we can do. We can talk about how the gestures were always in front of the body. Furzy, aren't the gestures always in front of the body? No. Sometimes the gestures are to the side of the body. Why? Because here they're almost camouflaged. You can see my hands, but can't you see my hands even better here? Right? Nobody ever gestures backwards, and yet look how powerful that can be. That was in the past. Especially in storytelling, we're always talking about the past. It's in the past. Nobody gestures behind them because they're thinking here. They're not thinking 3 dimensions or up. If you remember back to my final speech, I'm standing on a chair in the first 30 seconds. I'm breaking this horizontal plane. I'm rising above what people think is going to happen. And so you're right. Somebody gave an analysis. It tends to be something different. To be at the contest, you have to be something different. You do. And that's why it's silly to try to copy people at the championship level, because part of what made them champions is they did something new, but still authentic. I forgot who said that, but it was brilliant. Yeah. So that's what you want to do, is consider, where are my gestures? So these are the kinds of things that we can give feedback on. Take a look at this. How about their vocal variety? Screenshot. On the analysis side, the clarity of your consonants, not just clarity of words or sounds, but consonants. We can be that good. Does this make sense? Remember back when you guys were looking at me like, oh my gosh, this man is a nut job. What do you want me to tell you about these people? They're having a meeting. Stop bothering them. No. Clarity of their consonants. The length of the words they use. We tend to use certain rhythms when we speak. And if we keep using the same rhythm all the way through the speech, Karen, what happens? If we just use the same rhythm all the way throughout, right? If we know what's coming up, I'm snoozing. We just have very short, as I was saying, people today have very short, sorry, I thought I saw a shiny object. Right? We got very short attention spans. Very short. If you're using the same rhythm all the way throughout, you're going to lose your audience. The same length of word, the same length of sentence, the same breathing patterns. Furzy, did you just say breathing patterns? We're supposed to measure their breathing? Well, I mean, don't do the blood pressure thing, but yeah, listen for it. You'll hear where they tend to pause. And if that person has the same cadence all the way through, after a couple of minutes, you're doing this in the audience. Come on, Toastmasters will give you about 60 seconds, maybe even 2 minutes. The rest of the world, they'll give you 5 seconds before you swipe. You don't believe me? Look at the analytics on your posts. Look at the analytics on your posts. LinkedIn, Facebook, look at the analytics. It'll say that in the first second, this many people looked at your wonderful post. By the second, this many people are still looking at your post. It's that fast. I know, Jean-Pierre, it's an incredibly depressing world when 95% of the people who look at your stuff will only look at it for 1 second. It makes advertising so difficult. And speaking is difficult in the real world. In Toastmasters, we're like positive and supportive environment, but that doesn't really help them out in their business setting. So we've got to help them get there. The sounds of the word, on the intuitive side, the sounds of the words, the length of vowel sounds. Yes, the length of vowel sounds. Think about it. Here's another little nugget for you. It comes from theater. Consonants communicate logic. Vowel sounds communicate emotion. I know 50% of you are like, I don't know whether I believe that. The other 50% are like, I'm writing that down. You don't have to believe it. Try it for yourself. When's the last time you really heard or felt an emotion with a lot of consonants? But if we're telling a story, and you're at that most passionate moment, then lengthen that word for just a little bit more on the vowel sound. And now I understood. Yes. Now I felt it. I hear you. Whereas when you're telling that part of the story where you're trying to make sure that we understand the logical conclusion, consonants. When your story is going wah, 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 consonants to make sure that your audience is with you. Karen, do you need another picture of that? Because I know you're not trying to take a picture of me. There's nothing here to take a picture of. This one, that's what you want, right? You're like, get your head out of the way. I can't see the PowerPoint. Is your rhythm staccato or legato? Who's ever thought of using Italian in your evaluation? That is Italian, I think. I don't think it's Latin. I don't know. Ask a Roman. Let's see if it's Latin. Okay, so staccato, legato in your rhythm. I feel your resonance. Intuitive. So there is an intuitive side. Like when we say that they're having a meeting, that they're disengaged, that's intuitive. I totally understand why you said that. But sometimes first glance requires a second glance. Sometimes we can say there's a bridge and trees and 3 people, and sometimes we can say peaceful. Yes? Yeah. On your analysis of vocal variety, you can talk about pausing in mid-word. Ferzi, are you saying that that's what we hear in people or that's what we tell people? That's what you tell people. Try that. Try pausing in mid-word. If you watch my semifinal speech, that's exactly what I do. Because I got to the conclusionary statement, right? I said, love is a da 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 da. And as I said it, I went, it sounds kind of cliche. You can't just go up there and say love is a blah, 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 blah. People are like, whatever. It's Toastmasters. We talk about that garbage all the time. So instead, I broke it up mid-word. In mid-word, I stopped talking. I went, love is a... Love is a series of transactions between, and I go on to explain it. And as I lengthen out my sentence, I'm looking at my audience. I'm breathing 2, 3 times in the middle of a sentence so that now it appears like I'm discovering the answer to my own question in real time. You can do that. Just because you wrote it without pausing doesn't mean you have to say it without pausing. Say it like we say it in real life, not like we've rehearsed it 100 times. I'm going to say that again. Say it like we say it in real life, not like we've said it 100 times. Now it appears authentic. I know some of you are like, that's not really authentic. I'm like, seriously? You ever had to give a speech 50 times? Come on. District officer, right? You've got to go to this club, got to go to that club, got to go to this club, got to go to that club, and you got to give the same dadgum speech every time. Come on. Be real. Politicians, you've got to give that speech at this city, and then at that city, and then at this city, and then at that city. How about a keynoter? I have a signature speech. I do it in the year 2025. In 2027, I'm going to have to do it again. In 2028, I'll do it again. In 2029, I did it 4 different times in 4 different cities. It's the same speech. You can't go in there sounding tired. You've got to make it sound spontaneous. And how are you going to do that? Yeah? Okay. So go ahead. Use these techniques to help your audience experience it for the first time. They don't have to look behind the curtain and see that you're kind of faking the little magic act. Come on, let's get real. Let's get real. Take a look at page of your evaluative. If you want to help your club members out, everybody understands page 1 of the evaluation form. But here's the thing, on the evaluation form where it says what you did well, and then what you didn't do so well, and then your challenge, try this. Everything you write here on page 1, because I know you guys are advanced, everything on page 1, challenge yourself. Nothing on page 1 is from page 2. Challenge yourself. Don't put anything on page 1 that you're going to put on page 2. If you want to up your game as an evaluator, challenge yourself. Don't write things twice. That means you've got to look for more, right? You've got to look for more. So on page 1, what you did well, what you need to work on, and I challenge you, think about that. Think about this. What you did well is something that you could do immediately. You can do this on the very next speech. Why? Because you did it today. I'm trying to tell you that it was good. Keep doing it. Celebrate. Celebrate. And then on what you didn't do so well, we elevate. It's going to take you maybe 2 to 3 speeches to get this right. Just think about that. The duration of time it's going to take somebody to get better. The duration of time it's going to take somebody to get better. They're not going to get better just because you said it. Temper expectations. And then on challenge, I challenge you to use this at your work. Challenge doesn't have to be in Toastmasters. I challenge you to do this. It could take 10 more speeches to achieve this, but you can do it. Furzy, what on earth is going to take 10 speeches for me to get better at? Vocal resonance. That's not going to happen in one speech. You'll be lucky if you can do that in a year. But I do want you to work on it. Work on your resonance. You mean the low sounds? No, not just the low sounds. I mean the resonance. So that even at the higher sounds, there is resonance in your voice. And it's not thin, it's full. It's going to take time. Challenge them. On page 2, remember that you're not just rating yes, no. It's actually 1 through 5. Now, here's a challenge for you, advanced speakers and advanced evaluators and advanced coaches and advanced teachers. How do I get from a 3 to a 4? What? Yes. Be that specific. Tell your speaker, here's how you're going to get from a 3 to a 4. Be that specific. I know I'm supposed to be at a 5, but I'm getting frustrated. It's okay. This could take 4 or 5 speeches to get there. But right now you're at a 2. To get to a 3, do this. Now to get to a 4, do this. And then when you're ready, do the 5. So the first thing I want you to do on your next speech, just focus on this one thing, because they can't focus on everything. Focus on this one thing. Move your elbows away from your body. What? Move your elbows away from your body. Not like that cheap rugby player that you see on the field, It's not that kind of elbow, Jean-Pierre. I know. That's like dinner at a family with 8 kids. Or dinner with your mother-in-law. No, I didn't say that, Cherie. So the idea is, once we move... And Ma, you all right? Once we move our elbows away from our body, all of a sudden, look at the gesture size I've got. Once I move my elbows out, I all of a sudden have so much more going on. So if I could move you from a 3 to a 4, move your elbows away from your body. It's going to open up a world of gestures. On your voice, I want you to speak to the back of the room, and I want you to tilt your head up. Why am I tilting my head up? Because the back of the room thinks that you're talking to them. Am I actually talking to the back of the room when I tilt my head up or when I move my arm up? No. That's not the way sound waves work. But it is the way that people perceive. Right? When you want to talk to the back of the room, we go, you in the back. That's not really the back. But we all know that when you want to throw a ball, you've got to give it some arc. It's the same thing with our voices and our eyesight. You in the back of the room. I know this because as a teacher, I'm always looking at the back of the room. Hey, put that down. Put that down. Don't make me come back there. You see what I mean? These are the things. Karen, you've been around kids, Karen. See those. So you have to do these things. So you can tell your speaker that. Here's how to get from a 2 to a 3. Here's how to go from a 3 to a 4. Be specific. Be specific. Understand those numbers are there for a reason and write comments. And then use page 3. Did you guys know there's a page 3? Lou, did you know there's a page 3? There's a page 3, you know. Nobody ever uses it. How do you use it? Simple. Print it out. Circle the word. There are so many descriptors on page 3. Look at all the criterion and circle it. Let them know, here's how you get from a 4 to a 5. It fully integrates. You're not fully integrating it. How do I fully integrate a gesture into a speech? Well, how about this? When you have a theme, your main message, when you have your main message, have a particular gesture you use. So when you say, think before we speak, think before we speak. So you know how when you have a main message, you have to say it at least 3 times, right? The introduction, the body, conclusion. Everybody agree? Basics of speaking, right? Intro, body, conclusion. When you do your intro, you go, so today I'm going to tell you about how we have to think before we speak. And then in the body, when you go, and that's when I learned, oh, I got to think before I speak. And then in your conclusion, you're saying, and so, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let's all make sure that we think before we speak. It's the same gesture. Now I'm integrating it into my speech. Now my physicality matches my vocality. I'm not sure that's an actual word, but I'm going to use it, Karen. Vocality. Mahesh, is it a real word? Who cares? Sounds good though, doesn't it? What we really want is that the gestures match and that the gestures are integrated, fully integrated. That achieves level 5. And that's what we're trying to do. So go ahead, use page 3, show them by circling it, what's the word that's triggering them to be better or not as good. You could even circle what I liked, or underline what they need. You still need this. I want you to do one. I want you to do what's circled, but I see what you are drawing the line for. I had a whole other segment, but I took too long getting to this part. So I was going to introduce to you my friend who was going to do a demo speech. His name is Tom Morrow, but Tom's just going to have to do it tomorrow. Come on, Karen. Come on, Karen. Okay, yeah, okay. Shri, okay. Shri, that was kind of like a tap. Dude. Oh my gosh. That's not going to be good. Yeah, that was like a pity laugh. Some of y'all really laugh. Some of y'all kind of, Yeah, he was going to be evaluated by Justin, just in time. Okay. You better laugh or the jokes get worse. All right, Q&A. What questions can I answer for you?
Yes, we have 15 minutes for Q&A, so yeah, we will start.
Gauri?
Thank you. That was really insightful, and it took evaluation to an entirely new level. My question would be, if I have to do this in real life, how can I do it without seeming to be really picky? Like, I don't want to give this feedback and the person to burst into tears because I've gone into so much of detail. So how do I bring my empathy, or how do we do this in a way that still preserves, I guess, the emotions and of the person who's doing this? Or should we
Absolutely.
wait till they have reached a level before we give such specific feedback?
Well, numbers aren't necessarily judgmental,
Okay. Okay.
right? I mean, that question is almost assuming that it's a negative. It can be a positive. Oh my gosh. Dude, they really are going bonkers. This is what happens at 5 a.m. at my place. So I think we can give positive feedback and still count. Like, I saw how you did that 7 times, and that's so much better than when you first did your icebreaker.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it can still be very positive. That's a good question, though. Yeah, you're right. We don't want people to feel like we're nitpicking on them.
Exactly.
What we want them to feel is that we're seeing everything.
Okay.
Including the positive.
Okay.
Thanks, Gowrie. Good question. Dave?
Hey, firstly, thank you for an awesome presentation. Very engaging. I learned a lot. When you've mentioned so many different things there, like gestures, counting how many pauses, etc. How do you actually approach? So if you're in a Toastmasters club, you're watching someone speaking, do you have a form that you fill out, and then at the end you sort of go back through those and try and bring out the main points, because you could pick up about 100 points there. So how do you actually approach that to give them the most valuable?
That's an excellent question. I skipped this slide when I knew I was going to run out of time. The way that I tend to write things down is on the left side, the things I liked, on the right side, the things I didn't like, and at the bottom, what I'm actually going to say. The left side, what I liked, what on the right side, what I didn't like, or what I have questions about. You can say it any way you want, but it's the positive and the negative, right? Just admit it. And then in the center, I noticed this, but I'm not sure whether I like it or I don't like it, but I put it in the middle. The bottom, big letters, this is what I'm actually going to say in my evaluation. Because what I say in my evaluation is not necessarily all the feedback. I'm not going to say everything. I don't have time. I'm going to explain what I give you. Now, here's the other thought. And I don't know, again, whether this is something you already do and Ferzy's about to be master of the obvious, but let's say this is your page, yes? And you're writing notes. And by the way, I write it chronologically. So I know that if the note is here, then you are halfway through your speech. If the note is here, you're at the end of your speech. So I write it chronologically, even though I'm going back and forth. So I know where you are in your speech, and I can help you there. But these are the things that I see, raw data. This I see and I hear, I see and I hear, I see and I hear, raw data. And then at the bottom, like I said, this is what's going to come out of my mouth. Now for this evaluation contest, I take this page because I only need this. And I know you don't want to go up there with a piece of paper, but sometimes on the contest, you're stressed out. You want to make sure you don't forget. Now it's right there. You're not up there with a big old sheet of paper. The Constitution as spoken by me. No, it's right there. And it's in big letters that I can see even at a glance. And now what have you got? You've got a prop. You don't have notes. You've got a prop. Yeah, don't say I never gave you nothing. You got a prop. You're like, isn't that cheating? Well, yeah, it's notes, but it just looks better than the notes. Thank you, Dave. Daryl?
I feel in my time as a Toastmaster, my evaluations, there's been growth, but I just sort of feel like there's steady growth. And I think it's not something that ever sort of plateaus out. So in your time, from your first year as a Toastmaster to now, can you tell us about how you felt the growth has been for you in evaluations?
I get better every time because I challenge myself to find better ways to describe. And I'm sitting there going, what is wrong with this story? Now, part of it is because I'm coaching, right? I'm coaching people. I've got clients. And so I'm looking at it very closely. One of the classes that I offer actually videotapes. I say, don't bring your speeches and say it in person. What I do is for the class, we analyze video. how to analyze video, how to analyze exactly how long that gesture is, exactly when do they look, when do they go down to the floor. Like you looked at Sabi, his introduction, he goes down to the floor within the first 15 seconds. He breaks the horizontal plane. He immediately breaks your expectation of gesture. So that kind of specific thing you pick up along the way. So we get better at seeing things. We have one more thing to look at. We start to get better at hearing the nuances of somebody's voice. So I think that's how we get better. We ask ourselves, what's the next level? And then the icing on the cake, what does the speaker need from me? What can I uniquely give this particular speaker? Does that make sense, Lou? You're going to bring something to your evaluation that Evelyn cannot. I don't know what that is. Evelyn's like, I can bring anything. Well, yeah, but Lou might be also really good at something that you hadn't thought about. So what's my perspective compared to their perspective? And both perspectives will be true. Both perspectives will be true. You just want to find out which perspective is going to help my particular evaluation. And then let the speaker use both and figure out how to work from there. Daryl, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Percy.
You're welcome. Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. This was really the first time I'm hearing a different perspective on evaluation, because I think sometimes Toastmaster is a bit of a straitjacket in the way they teach us. And often when I see, it becomes like we're looking at hellos. Well, you're trying to go more deeper. But now I have a question is, in our club, we do panel and evaluation. What you talked this morning about is more individual evaluation. I found that what is difficult to, as a speaker, when you receive all these multiple information, you got a lot of information, but it's all different perspective. So shouldn't you, when you have a panel, try to also concentrate it, and bring the page 3 in, I mean, I'm just a cliche here. You know what I mean? It's because often when I have a speech and I'm evaluated, I have to take note photos and then go home and figure out what has been said, what is relevant, what is not. But shouldn't also the panel try to bring into a summary?
I got you.
And a point.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're an advanced club. I'm in several advanced clubs, and on 2 of them we do panels. Absolutely. Even as a panelist, what am I going to say that they didn't already say? There's nothing worse than being the 8th panelist evaluator, and they're saying it, and I'm going, I got nothing to give you, so I'll repeat what they said. Come on, we can't do that to ourselves or the room. So we dig deeper and we try to find something that somebody else isn't going to say. By the way, when you're in an evaluation contest, you can give this to your mentees, right? In the evaluation contest. If you're going to end up being the 4th speaker in an evaluation contest, realize everybody's already said the obvious. You got to know what's obvious, right? It's like going scuba diving. You know what you're going to see in the first 2 meters, and then in the 5th meter, and then in the 10th meter. You know that if you're the 4th or 5th or 7th speaker in an evaluation contest, don't say the obvious. It's already been done. You're wasting time and you're going to look foolish. Go for what's down here. So if you're the 8th panelist, go for what's down here. And that means you've got to find that next level of evaluation, the level of detail. You've got to dig right in. I think the other part about being in a panelist is that you've got a certain amount of time. You can only say your best. Nobody wants to wait 5 minutes. So you've only got 60 seconds. Or in another club admin, you have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to give feedback. You got to get right to it. And then you give them all your notes that you took, all those great set of notes that you took. You give it to them in writing. Send it in a memo. I send emails all the time. Here's my full data. Here's all the data. I only gave you this. I only said this. Here's everything else. Contact me if you need. Why? Because I'm in a positive, supportive environment. I'm here for you. Please don't leave us. Stay, you'll grow. Right? That's the message we're sending. Stay, you will grow. That is the message we are saying. I do believe in Toastmasters. I think it's awesome. But we need to understand that one of the reasons why people leave is because they think they've achieved it all, because the evaluations aren't getting any better. I think evaluations are the keystone to it all. We need to make sure that people feel like they're growing. We need to make sure that people feel challenged. And then we need to be supportive. They can go online and get anything they want from a YouTube video. You want to learn public speaking? Go to YouTube. You want to know what they get from us, Shri? You want to know what they get from us, Karen? The one thing they get from us that they can't get on YouTube? Community. They get a community. They get somebody that says, hey, listen, I'm your mentor. You've got a speech coming up in a week or 2 weeks, however far you set that up. Why don't you do the speech for me? Send me a recording, send me your script ahead of time, and I can give you feedback. That way, when you do the speech for the club, it's not just an autopsy. You know what I mean? Why don't you give feedback from me ahead of time so that then when you go in front of everyone, it's already level up. Then they understand the process of growth. It's not just a test and then you don't do anything with the results. Let's really help them grow. Then they feel like, man, I can't leave. I can't leave. Are you kidding? Where else am I going to get people who care about what I'm saying? Not at home. Nobody at the dinner table talks, listens to me. But you do. You do. You listen to them, you hear them, you see them. And that's what you want to communicate. I see you. I mean, I see you and I see who you are. I see everything that you are, everything that you want to be. Let me help you go from here to there. What do you want to be? Let me help you go from here to there. Why wouldn't I want to stay?
Fuzzy, there's a question in the chat. Not sure if you've answered it or not. It's from Tanu Rao. And she says, do we keep the paper in the hand or try to remember the descriptors? So do we keep the paper in the hand or do we remember the descriptors? Which is better in your view and why?
I would try to use it. I would try to not put it in my hand. I do this only if I have to. I only write it down. Otherwise, it's all up here. It's all up there. If you really want, then this little piece of paper goes in your pocket. And when you get stuck and you're like, yeah, and then the last thing I want to talk about is, and then you put it back away. And then here we go. That's for contest. For a regular evaluation, almost everything is here. And if I'm online, obviously you are online, I do my evaluations right here. I'll write the evaluations right up here. I'll type it straight into my software and then I can put it out there for everyone. So, do we keep I can give you notes right away. This is a game changer. How we give feedback in a setting like this is a game changer for me because I can tell you, hi, Karen, would you wave your hand at me, please? I can give you feedback immediately. And I can say, when you did your gesture, I would sustain that gesture so we can actually see your hand. Now, Karen, would you take your hand and would you hold it in place for me, please? Now we can actually understand your gesture better. Sustain that gesture for at least 2 seconds. Right? So that's where I cheat online and have my notes. But in person, try to get the notes out of your hand. Put it in your mind in a way that you can remember. Hope that helps.
Thanks, Percy.
You guys didn't listen, did you? Everybody's going, what program is he using to do that? What's his software? What the hell was he talking about? I don't know, but I want that program. Go ahead. What's the next question?
Any last questions? We've got Daryl and who else we've got? Yeah, Daryl. Yeah, please.
You answered it. I was going to say, what is that software? Prezi Video. I will look it up. Thank you so much, Furs. I've been really impressed with your presentation skills. I've never seen this before, so thank you.
It only happens at 5 in the morning. The rest of the day, I'm kind of calm. Right now, I'm like my cats. Hey, look at that. Hey, let's do that. And how about that? I've got a great attention. What? Yeah, Prezi Video. It's awesome. It comes free with your Zoom account. In Zoom, it's free. Take a look at the bottom at the apps. Is it down this corner or that corner? It's in the apps. Or I think I don't know what you get for free and what you get if you pay, because I pay, so I'm not sure. But it's not that bad, and it's all my presentations. Game changer. You can do all kinds of things. You can even do like, okay, so start here and then go there. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. Or here, look, there's like a potato coming out of the ground. I don't know what that is. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your joining me on this journey. Thank you. And I really mostly appreciate the laughs. Most times I gotta beg for laughs. It's sad. It's really pathetic to have to beg for a laugh, but I appreciate it. I know some of you only laugh because of pity. I get that. I'll accept that. But no, thank you very much. Shri, thanks for inviting me.
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you, Fuzzy. It's 5 o'clock in the morning for you. So back to you, Lana.
Well, no, it's not 5 in the morning here, but I'm feeling very, very energized. My internet, not so. That's why my video was off for a lot of it, but hopefully rebooting things has recovered that situation. Thank you so much to our guest speaker. To have a vote of thanks, we're now going to hand over to Lou.
Thank you, Lana. What can I say? I've always been a fan of you, Fuzzy. I've always been a fan. I was there at the World Championship, and I still say it's the best body language I have ever seen in my entire life. It was a masterclass. I have two favorite words in Toastmasters, and they're mutually supportive. And there is nothing I like more than a Toastmaster who, like yourself, has achieved so much. You are world class. You are world class, even the way you presented today. I'm with Daryl. Best presentation online I've ever seen. And yet, you are a true Toastmaster because you are mutually supportive. You're not keeping it for yourself. You're generously sharing, not just your knowledge, and you've worked hard for this. You know, you've really worked hard. Like, I totally acknowledge how hard you've studied, you've worked, you've perfected your craft, and you don't even stop doing that. And to come here and share everything, that speaks more to me than even all your achievements. I am so grateful to have heard you today. I'm going to tell you the truth. My ego got in the way this morning. I thought, I've won evaluation twice and I've studied really hard. I'm not sure I'm going to learn that much. And I was humbled by you today about how much more I need to learn and how much harder I need to work still. So thank you for humbling me and reminding me to keep my ego in check. And we're so lucky to have had you come today. I mean, you're a busy person, you're in demand, you coach, you're a professional speaker, but you're still a Toastmaster at heart. And for that's where, in my opinion, you are the champion. Just amazing what you've done for us today. I am passionate about evaluation, but I'm also passionate about giving back. And I think what you said about building community, that goes hand in hand with that. It really is about people at its heart. So thank you for being an amazing speaker, an amazing trainer, but an even more amazing person and trainer. Thank you from Stage Time Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Lou, for that